What's up, guys? My name is Nick Dahlberg, and I'm going to share the one simple meta ads testing strategy that I use to build the foundation and scale one of my dropship stores to over $1.5 million so far this year alone. After this video, you'll have a clear understanding of how to properly test, launch, and analyze your campaign's results effectively. Again, my name is Nick Dahlberg, and you can find me on Instagram at jung.labs. You can also find me here on YouTube at junglabs, and I would appreciate it if you could drop this video a like and subscribe to the channel. And you can also find me on TikTok at junglabs. Now, so far this year, I've done over $1.5 million in sales. Now, the reason I show you that is to prove that the strategy that you're going to learn today is effective and works. But before I jump into the strategy itself, there's three important topics that we need to understand first. Look at these almost as prerequisites. You need to have a basic understanding of these before you launch your campaigns. Otherwise, you're going to be extremely confused. These three topics are the pixel, the learning phase, and the attribution window. We're going to start over here on the left with the pixel. The pixel is essentially just the brain of your ad account. Your pixel needs time to optimize around your customer. The more data it collects, the better your delivery will be. Essentially just meaning the better your results will be as your pixel starts to collect more data. Now, you ideally need around 100 purchases in order for your pixel to start properly optimizing around your customers. Next, we have learning phase. All new ad sets that are just launched are going to be put in the learning phase. And this is where Meta is trying to find your ideal customers. Now, your results will get better over time as your ad sets exit the learning phase and start to stabilize. Now, in order to do that, you need about 50 events. And in this case, we're only going to be optimizing towards purchase events because that's what we do when we dropship. So you're going to need 50 purchase events to exit the learning phase within a 7-day time period. And I mention this because in the beginning, your results may be a bit choppy. But later on in this video, I'm going to show you how to analyze your metrics so you can rule out any outliers there. Now, lastly, we have attribution windows. And this is how Meta attributes sales back to your dashboard. For simplicity, let's look at it like this. You have a 7-day attribution window and a 1-day attribution window. Let's start with 7-day. This is what I recommend to anybody just getting started. And this is the default window that Meta gives you. A 7-day attribution window is any sales made within a 7-day window are attributed back to your dashboard. And this is the best for exiting learning. So let's say, for example, I saw your product from an Instagram ad. And let's say I decided to click on that ad and go to your website. But for some reason, I decided not to buy. And 3 days later, I remembered your URL and went back to your website. Or maybe I saw an ad from you on TikTok and decided to go back to your website and decided to buy right then and there. Well, since it's within that 7-day attribution window, Meta is going to attribute that sale back to our dashboard. So you can see why that's really good for exiting learning because we need 50 purchases within a 7-day window to exit. So 7 days is recommended for most people getting started and probably for you watching this. Now, on the other hand, we have a 1-day attribution window. So any sales that are made within a 24-hour window. Now, a 1-day attribution window is any sales that are made within a 24-hour period. And with this, you're typically going to get higher quality traffic, but the caveat is you need a larger budget in order to exit the learning phase here. So here's a quick recap. Starting with the pixel, we need about 100 purchases in order for our pixel to start optimizing properly. For learning phase, you're going to need about 50 different purchase events to fire off, meaning just 50 different purchases to happen within a 7-day time period on those ad sets in order to exit learning. And lastly, we have attribution window, and I recommend starting out with a 7-day attribution window, which you don't need to do anything there because by default, you'll already have that. Any sales that happen within a 7-day window that come from Meta will be attributed back to your campaigns, which will help you exit learning phase faster, which will also help your pixel start to optimize a bit quicker, leading you to getting better results. But if you guys have any questions about pixel, learning phase, or attribution windows, feel free to let me know in the comments and I'll be sure to respond to those. But let's get into the strategy itself. So let's first start with a breakdown and then I'll show you step by step how to launch this. So we're going to be running a manual CBO campaign. Now, I prefer CBO because I want the platform to tell me which creative is the best. It's efficient and effective and it saves time. Now next, inside of this campaign, I'm going to have anywhere from 3 to 5 different ad sets. All these ad sets are going to be completely broad, but with manual placements. Now, the reason I do manual placements is because Meta has a whole lot of different placements that aren't really that effective. The ones that really drive sales from my experience are feed, story, and reels. So what we're going to do with manual placements is go Instagram and Facebook feed, story, and reels. Inside each ad set, there's going to be one unique creative. So if we have 3 different ad sets, there's going to be one ad inside of each. Now, each creative that we make is going to have a different angle on it, meaning it's going to have different messaging. So a quick recap, we're going to be running a manual CBO campaign with anywhere from 3 to 5 broad ad sets, but with manual placements, Instagram and Facebook feed, story, and reels. And then inside of each ad set, there's going to be one unique creative with its own angle. So to set this up, the first thing you want to do is go to your Meta ad dashboard and then click create. And then you want to click sales. and then click continue. Now, starting at the very top, for campaign name, you want to give your campaign a name, something that's easily recognizable. What I like to do is give it the date, followed by the product, followed by the targeting, which is broad, followed by the creative set. So what I mean by creative set is this. We're using 3 different creatives, all with unique angles, but I made them in a batch. So this is just creative set 1. This is how I recognize my creatives, because that's the only real difference inside of this specific campaign is just the creatives. So now moving down to budget, what we want to do is make sure that campaign budget is selected, which it should be pre-selected. Then we want to set a daily budget of anywhere from $50 minimum to $100 a day. I personally recommend starting out with about $100 per day. However, $50 a day will work as well. Then once you have this set up, the campaign name and the budget, then you want to go ahead and click next. Now we're going to be inside the ad set level of the campaign. If you look over here on the left, you can easily identify that you're in the ad set level simply just by looking at the icon. The 4 squares means ad set, the website icon right here means ad, and the folder means campaign. And another simple way to look at this, if you ever get confused, is look at your campaign like a garage. Look at the ad set sort of like the engine of the vehicle that's sitting inside of the garage, because this is what actually makes the campaign do something. And then look at the ad like the exterior of the car, because that's what the customer will only see. So for the ad set name, remember, we're going to keep this all broad. So the only thing that we need to do to identify what this ad set is by the creative. So name this whatever your creative is, or something that's easily identifiable for you. Next, under conversion, what we want to do is make sure that our performance goal is set to maximum number of conversions. And then you want to choose your data set. And this is your pixel. So make sure that your pixel is selected. And then for conversion event, this is where we want to choose our purchase event. And we always want to choose purchase event. We don't want to choose anything else, only purchase. Next, we want to move down to budget and schedule. And what we want to do is schedule for the following day at midnight. That way we can spend our budget evenly throughout the day and we get a fair test. Now moving down to audience, you're going to notice that Advantage Plus is on. So what we're going to do here is just click further limit the reach of your ads and then click switch setup. Now from here, you're going to notice that this is still on. And this is no big deal, because once we change our placements, then our campaign will go from an Advantage Plus campaign to a manual CBO campaign. So for here, we're not going to do anything. We don't need to do any targeting, because remember, all the ad sets inside of this campaign are going to be completely broad. So now we're going to move down to placement. And what we want to do here is click show more settings. And then underneath placement controls, what we're going to do is deselect in-stream ads. We're going to deselect search, and then we're going to deselect apps and site. Then we're going to open up feed. And we're just going to click this checkbox up here to remove everything. And then we're going to manually select Facebook feed, Instagram feed. And then we're going to just close that, then open up story and reels and do the same thing here. Click the check to deselect everything and then manually select Instagram stories, Facebook stories, Instagram reels, and Facebook reels. And that is all you need to do inside of the ad set level. So let me give you a quick recap starting at the very top. For your ad set name, you want to name this your creative, something that's easily recognizable, because every single ad set is going to be the exact same from this point on. The only thing that's different is going to be the creative itself that's living inside of the ad set. Moving down to conversion, we want to make sure that website is selected. The performance goal is set to maximum number of conversions. The data set that is selected, which is our pixel, is for our store. Our conversion event is purchase and only purchase. And then moving down to budget and schedule, our ads are scheduled to run at the following day at midnight. Then for audience, we're not going to do anything here. The only thing that we're going to do inside of this tab is actually switch the setup to a manual configuration. And then for placements is deselect every single placement except for Facebook feed, Instagram story, Facebook story, Instagram reel, and Facebook reels. So if done correctly, you should see 18 out of 24 placements excluded right here. So with that being said, now we're done and we can move into the ad level. So click next. Starting in the ad level, the first thing that you want to do is make sure that your ad name is easily identifiable. So you can use the same ad name that you used on the ad set name. In this case, we're going to use video 1. Then you want to make sure that your Facebook page is selected. This is going to be your brand's identity. So go ahead and select that, followed by Instagram account. If you have an Instagram account, go ahead and connect that here. If not, just select use Facebook page and that will show up as your page's identity. Then you're going to want to move down to ad setup, and then you're going to want to select create ad, and then select manual upload, and then under format, single image or video. And then lastly, you want to make sure that multi-advertiser ads is deselected. So this right here is my product page. I'm going to grab the URL here, and then I'm going to take this back to the meta ad library and paste this right here in website URL. Now we want to continue moving down, and for browser add-ons, make sure that none is selected. And then now for ad creative, this is where we're going to upload our creatives and write out our ad copy. So click setup creative, then select video ad, or if you're doing an image, feel free to select image. And from here, click edit and remove this source URL. You don't need this. It looks like you do, but you don't. Then move next to media, and this is where you're going to actually upload your creatives. So here we go. This is one creative here, and then we're going to select next. And then now we're going to write our copy. And for this, I had ChatGPT help me out. I told it, you're a world-class copywriter, write me copy for a wireless shaping bra for plus-size women. And it gave me some examples here, but I told them to shorten it and also give me a call to action at the end, and it gave me this. And this is completely fine. So we're going to copy this and move back to Meta, and under our primary text, we're going to paste this. And then once our text is set up, we're then going to select next and move over to enhancements. And then we want to make sure that catalog items is deselected. However, you may not see this on yours, which is completely fine, but just make sure catalog items is off. But then text improvements, video filters, and expand video is on, along with video touch-up and enhanced CTA. Then click done, and you're going to see our ad pop up over here. Now there is a few more things that we need to do. For headline, which will show up right here next to the CTA button, we want to make the headline what our offer is. So the text that ChatGPT generated was just an example, but I'm going to roll with it. But make this what your offer is. So in this case, I did 40% off today only. And then you want to add a description. Now, sometimes if your headline text is too long, you won't be able to see the description. But for the description, I just like to add some urgency, scarcity, or some trust. So for here, loved by 10,000 plus women. And then for call to action, we want to make this say shop now or get offer. I typically run with shop now though, but get offer does work as well. So now that we have this done, we are all good to go. So let me quickly recap, starting at the very top with ad name. Make this the same name as your ad set, just a unique identifier for the creative itself. Moving down to identity, make sure that your Facebook page is selected, and make sure that Instagram account is linking to your Instagram account if you have one, but if not, that's okay. Use Facebook page. For ad setup, you want to do manual upload. For format, single image or video. Under destination for website URL, you want to make sure that you're pasting your product page URL, not your homepage, but your product page URL. Next, for browser add-ons, make sure that none is selected. Now for ad creative, you want to make sure that your one video, that video one is uploaded. And under enhancements, you just want to make sure that everything is on except catalog items. And then you want to have your copy lined up along with your headline, which for headline, this should be what your offer is. And then for description, urgency, scarcity, trust works fine. And then lastly, for call to action, you want to make sure that shop now is done. You want to make sure that shop now is selected. And then from there, you're good to go. So now we can move on to the final step, which is coming over here to the top left under the ad set level. Remember the 4 squares. You just want to click these 3 dots and then click duplicate. And you want to duplicate these 2 times and also deselect show existing reactions and comments on new ads. Now you see it created 2 unique copies. What we're going to do is select into one of these copies and then just change the ad set name to video 2. And from here, we're not going to change anything in here. Since we already set this up, it's already good to go. The only thing that we need to swap inside of this ad set is the actual ad creative itself. So after we change the name of the ad set, we're also going to do the same thing to the ad name. And then we're just going to come down here to edit media and we're going to change the video. So again, click media and then choose your second video. And it's the same exact process. Click next, click done, make sure that all the enhancements are on except for add catalog items, then click done. And then now your second ad set is set up and now we need to move on to our third and final. Or if you're doing 5, you would want to repeat this step for all of them, but in this case, we only have 3 creatives. So this is going to be video 3 on the ad set name. Again, we don't need to change anything here because we're already set up. Then underneath the ad level, we want to go ahead and swap that as well, and then do the same thing. The only thing that we're going to swap here is the creative. So now if you look over here on the left, you can see that we have 3 different ad sets, and inside each ad set is 1 unique creative. So a quick recap on how we did that is we first set up our first ad set. And then we set up our ad, and then we duplicated it 2 more times to create 2 different copies. Then inside of each ad in the copies, we just changed the video and then adjusted the actual ad set and ad name. And once you have that set up, you are good to go. You can click publish and your campaign will be scheduled. So it should look something like this. On the campaign level right here, you'll see your campaign set up. Then inside of the ad set level, you'll see your 3 different ad sets. And then inside of your ads, you'll see 3 different variations of ads. So this is exactly what we just set up, a manual CBO campaign with 3 different ad sets, and inside each ad set is 1 unique creative. Now from here, all you're gonna do is let this run for about 2 to 3 days. And during these 2 to 3 days, you're gonna be looking for 3 different things. Number 1 is sales. sales. Number 2 is data on your dashboard. And then number 3 is which creative had the highest intent or which one performed the best. But now let's cover the outcomes. So you're either going to be in one of these two situations. Number 1, you got sales, or number 2, you didn't get sales. So I put together 4 different hypotheticals to help you understand a little bit better what you should do in these unique situations. So hypothetical number 1 is you got no sales, but you have purchase intent. People are adding to cart, but they're not buying. This is a good sign. This means people want to buy your product, but there's something that's stopping them. So the solution to this is make sure that your markets, your shipping zones, your inventory, and your offer is set up properly. A quick little pro tip here is place a test order before you launch your campaign to avoid common errors like I just mentioned. And then number 2, you're not in a rush. So verify that everything is set up properly before you launch. The next hypothetical is you have no sales, no purchase intent, low clicks, low CTR, and a very high CPC. And this is simply just an invalid test because there's not enough traffic going to your site. So this is a creative problem, hence the metric. So the solution to this is new creatives. Now, a pro tip for this is if you're lost on how to do this, look at what your competitors are doing. I personally like to voice memo their ads on my phone and then send the file to an AI transcriber and then have ChatGPT break down the format of that ad script. So essentially what I'm saying here is leverage AI to help you make better ad creatives. For hypothetical number 3, you made sales, but you're not profitable. Well, this isn't bad. There's demand, hence the intent in sales. So what you could do here is add or maybe refine your digital offer bumps, add complimentary or best-selling products on post-purchase upsells. This will increase your average order value, hopefully making you more profitable. Pro tip, if the offer is not working, we're not going to change it. Instead, let's optimize on the back end so it won't affect our test. So this is why I said we want to add or refine our digital offer bumps because that has nothing to do with the price point of the product itself, or add complimentary or our second and third best sellers on post-purchase upsells. Because when a customer sees that, they've already purchased, you've already gotten their money. We don't want to do anything that can change our control, which is our test itself. So we only want to add these things on the back end where it has no impact on the front. So to backtrack, to get more profit, we just simply need to increase our average order value. And this can be done easily if you get your customers to buy 1 or 2 more items. Now, hypothetical number 4 is you made profitable sales. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have a winning product just yet, but there's a good chance it may be a winner. So there's 3 things that you need to do if you notice that you have profitable sales after 2 to 3 days. Number 1, optimize post-purchase for maximum AOV. This is going to allow you to make more profit on the front end to continue scaling further. Number 2 is you need to do a creative deep dive and understand which winning angles perform the best. And number 3, you need to do a soft breakdown of the demographic on the platform. And I wanted to give a quick warning here. Number 1, don't rush into scaling. You're testing. A lot of beginners oftentimes will see profitable sales on day 1 and start increasing the budget significantly, which will then lead to something breaking. Number 2, your results may fluctuate on day 3, day 4, day 5, and so on. The following days aren't promised winners like today is. So this is why we're not rushing to scale, because the results may fluctuate. And this goes back to what I was previously mentioning with pixel, learning phase, and also attribution windows. Now, before we continue to the final step, I want to show you 2 things: how to actually see your purchase intent on your dashboard, and then also how to hit a breakdown. So to see your purchase intent, you want to click on columns, and then you want to select customize columns, and then you want to search add to cart. And then once you have add to cart selected, you want to deselect in-app, and you want to deselect offline add to carts, and then you want to deselect meta add to carts. And then you want to search checkouts initiated and select this. And then under total, you want to deselect everything again, except for website checkouts initiated. And then from there, you may want to move these up in your column so they show up over here, but we're just going to click apply. And then you're able to see the number of checkouts initiated and the number of add to carts initiated there. So you can start to measure the purchase intent. I would recommend saving this column as a preset. That way you have it. And then lastly, to look at your breakdown, to the right of columns, you're going to see breakdown. From here, you're going to be able to seg your data by certain views. So for example, age, if we want to get an idea of what the age of people who are buying is, we select age. And since this campaign is not live, we can't see anything, but it would show us different age groups: 18 to 24, 25 to 34, 35 through 44, 45 through 54, 55 to 64, 65 plus. That way we get an idea of what our most profitable demographic is and which demo is responsible for the most sales. And we can do the same thing with placement to understand which placement is performing the best, which platform is performing the best, which gender is performing the best, and maybe which country is performing the best if you're targeting different countries. That's important data to know moving forward. To wrap this up, I want to cover one more thing. The entire purpose of this test is to simply test. We want to understand, number 1, is the product valid? Number 2, is the offer valid? And number 3 is who is buying and what are they buying for? What is the reason? This is what needs to be built on later in order to achieve a sustainable scale. So let's say, for example, that we ran this CBO campaign for 3 days and this was the outcome. Ad set number 1 didn't get any spend because the CBO is going to allocate the budget towards the ad set set and the ad that was performing the best. So let's say ad set 1 got no spend, ad set 2 got a little bit of spend, but ad set 3 was the one that got the majority of the spend, and it also got purchases that were profitable. And also, if you look underneath the ads, you can also see that I gave unique angles for them. Just food for thought here that you can maybe use to get creative. So an us versus them angle. So again, let's assume that we're selling a shaping bra. So we could compare us to Skims or compare on the price point. For ad 2, I did curvier women with larger breasts. And then number 3 was like maybe older women that are experiencing loss of firmness and loss of natural lift in their breasts. But let's say that was the winning ad set and this was the winning angle. Now we have an idea of what our winning angle is based off our data. Older women who are experiencing loss of firmness / natural lift. Now what we can do from here is start curating new messaging around this for future ads. That being number 1, specific callouts, different pain points and problems that people experience that have that issue. Number 2, a direct ICP or ideal customer profile call out, gender, age. Number 3, mirroring in ads. Mirroring essentially just means making sure that the creator is very similar to who your actual customer is. Now, a quick pro tip for this is number 1, keep your testing campaign live and let it continue to run. It's going to continue to collect more data and it's going to exit learning and help season your pixel some more. Number 2, if you haven't done so already, add a post-purchase survey to know exactly why your customers are buying. I like to use no commerce for this. And then number 3, leverage ChatGPT for angles or competitor reviews. This can be anywhere. This can be your exact product that another person is selling. You can look at their reviews. You can even go on Amazon, maybe see if your product's on there. And if it's not, maybe a product that's very similar but solves the exact problem. And lastly, Reddit. There's tons of different subreddits on every single pain point that you can imagine. So you're going to use this to educate yourself more on the problem and the solution and who the ideal customer profile actually is. At this point, you should have a good idea of how to properly set up an efficient meta ads test. And you should also be able to see the foundation that this is built on. It's not only identifying that the product is number 1, valid, and then number 2, the offer is valid, but most importantly, which creative angles are performing the best, and then gathering the data not only on dashboard, but also from post-purchase survey to refine your messaging to curate better ads that are hyper-targeted around who is actually buying now that you know who is. This is the foundational way to set up an efficient and effective test that can scale into the 6- and 7-figure mark.